Good evening, everyone. We are back now to the regular open public session meeting. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you to those viewing remotely. I call to order this joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council, and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Bernardino City Housing Authority, and the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority at 5:48 p.m. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa.
Here.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem. Here. Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
And Mayor Tran.
Here. Thank you. Pastor August Smith from True Light Community Fellowship will lead tonight's invocation. Please approach the podium at this time. And we have Amir will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance if you approach the podium. Please all rise, everyone. Oh, Pastor August Smith.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. We thank you for another day in the land of the living to be about a better San Bernardino. As we gather here, dear Heavenly Father, for this mayor and council meeting, we ask that you give us guidance and wisdom in our deliberations. May our discussions, dear Heavenly Father, be respectful, thoughtful, and focused on what is for the best of this community. Grant us discernment, Heavenly Father, to make better decisions that align with your will and empower us to act with compassion and integrity. Lord, your word says that we should pray for those that are in position of leadership. And so right now, dear Heavenly Father, we lift up our mayor. We lift up each and every one of our council members. We lift up the residents of San Bernardino as a whole. We lift up our public service officers, our peace officers, and community members. We pray for unity amongst us, that we may work together in harmony to serve the greater good. Now, Father, in the name of Jesus, we rebuke the spirit of confusion. We rebuke discord. We rebuke anger in the name of Jesus, and heavy-heartedness, and anything that would direct or stray our minds from the work at hand. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Everyone, please join me. Put your right hand over your heart and ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Please.
Thank you, Amir. Great job. And thank you, Pastor August Smith. I do want to reiterate about the closed session that will come after the open session, so we're moving some things around. We will now proceed to presentation on Broadband Strategic Master Plan presented by Chris Taylor and Alicia Gonzalez of Michael Baker International.
Thank you very much. About a year ago, we set out to support the cities to deciding if they wanted to become a internet service provider. And what we did, this year project was a multifaceted project, and we just want to bring what we've discovered today. There we go. For the project overview, we had different components that we were able to look at. We did everything from interviewing the ISPs that were in the city. We were able to gather data from federal maps, and we were able to pull that data together, and then we're going to present it here today. The first thing we did a needs assessment where we looked at the legal and regulatory authority that existed and to ensure that the city had the ability to be able to become an ISP. We were able to find that they did. We looked at several media options, of what would be the best way to build a broadband network, and we looked at what existing infrastructure of the city that was in the city, along with what those ISPs were asking for each service that they did. We looked at the network ownership risk, that if the city decided to become a government-owned network, what risk that would entail, and all the existing challenges that could come up in this presentation. We looked at different business models that could be available to the city. We did research, like I said, we did interviews, we did a survey, we did some GIS mapping, and what we were able to, our analysis incorporated a comparison of the broadband business models and examined different types of utility infrastructure and network designs. We found that an open access model would be the best value for the government-owned network, as it combines public-private control over the network. For our risk, we did a risk analysis. We wanted to understand exactly, the challenges that would become about if the city decided to become a had a government-owned network. We conducted a thorough analysis of risk associated with the government-owned network, and we also assessed a thorough list of city-specific risk. Our next item is cost modeling. We were able to do a high-level design, and then that led us into a cost model to be able to show us what this would cost the city to become an internet service provider. This provided the details of associated time and cost across this, and the key takeaway from the cost modeling is based on the given assumptions, the expected revenue wouldn't exceed the network cost until around year 10. However, in year 10, the initial capital investment deficit is still $400 million. So it would take approximately 46 years for return on investment. Once the investment is recouped, the revenue is expected to be about $19.5 million a year annually, compared to a budget of $7.9 million. We looked at available financing options for this large amount of capital investment. We weighed the potential advantages and disadvantages and provided some plausible scenarios for the city. Preliminary findings point toward mixed use of funding sources, such as issuing revenue bonds, utility fees, and public-private partnerships. We also did a deep dive into the different types of public-private partnerships to provide content about the opportunities and considerations that would come about for the city. And now I'm going to let Alicia discuss our community engagement on this project.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Alicia Gonzalez, and like Chris mentioned, I'm here to talk about the community engagement that went into informing this plan. So our approach to engagement was first and foremost to connect with the community members who may not be traditionally engaged in these type of activities, the historically underserved populations who really have a say in the community's broadband experiences. So what we did is we held a series of event and information sharing opportunities, and also gathered some really good data to inform the plan that you see before you tonight. First, we formed a task force with 12 individuals just to provide that insight and expertise based on their roles. We had folks from the city in your IT services department, stakeholders from the library, from the school district, things of that sort, to really get a nice cross-section and inform the community engagement that we chose to do. We next held 2 stakeholder roundtables to have more in-depth conversations with departments and organizations. The first stakeholder roundtable was focused on the government perspective, and the second was with community advocacy groups. And these sessions definitely helped us to get an understanding of the overall internet sentiment, availability, reliability, affordability, and digital skills concerns within the city. We also had a public meeting series, and as part of that, we had 2 in-person meetings. One of them was held here, and one of them was at the Verdmont Community Center. And we also had an online virtual session, again, to share what we had learned so far based on our broadband efforts, and also collect additional stories and feedback from community members on access, affordability, digital literacy, and experiences. We had a community survey as well, both available in paper format and online in English and Spanish, again, to find that data gathering, internet access, reliability, affordability, all the things we wanted to hear to inform the plan. And we held a series of ISP interviews, so actual internet service provider interviews, to understand the challenges that they might be aware of, trends, innovations within the industry itself and within our local landscape here in San Bernardino. So what you're seeing on this screen is the results of our GIS mapping and broadband availability atlas. We use data from the FCC fixed broadband availability data set, combined that with Uber hexagons to see what internet services are available at specific broadband serviceable locations. A little difficult to see on that screen. But what you're seeing is basically a color code, green being you've got great internet, red being not so great, you're underserved or unserved altogether. We looked at technology types, carriers, and the highest reported download and upload speeds, and mapped that as well on this platform. And the findings of all of those were used to create this, what we call availability atlas, to show available technology, speeds, and providers within the city. So through those engagement activities and data gathering efforts, we were really able to document and capture both quantitative data, like what you're seeing on the screen, and the stories, right, from your community members, from stakeholders, qualitative data about broadband within the city. And some of those stories are highlighted in the actual broadband plan itself and expanded upon within the appendices. The final body of work, as a result of that community engagement and data-driven results as well, is the Strategic Broadband Master Plan. It captures all aspects of the projects and outlines our recommendations, summarizing the methodology, the data, information, risks, financing strategies, just to give you guys the best approach, our recommendations moving forward. And the final draft also includes the technical documents I mentioned, the appendices, that inform the project. So with that, I'm going to toss it back over to Chris.
Thank you, Alicia. We now want to talk about what we learned. Doing this very thorough inventory of the broadband infrastructure currently available to the city residents, we were able to see that while, like Alicia showed, there was a lot of green in that map, showing that the city is shown as well-served, there still are some challenges that we learned. One of them is affordability, and that's a key community challenge here. There are also concerns about lack of competition in certain areas. There are reliability issues that were identified by both residents and businesses. We heard challenges, especially from students ranging from elementary school all the way to college, who rely on hotspots and their cell phones to finish schoolwork and even sometimes attend online classes. We also heard that the internet users were also concerned about some cybersecurity issues that exist. We further found while the FCC data that is shown here shows the bright green areas that are considered to be well-served and served by fiber. Feedback from some of the stakeholders that we spoke with indicate that there are issues, like I said, with affordability, reliability, and competition. And you can see in the foothills some of the areas that are red, which meaning they are unserved, which means they have no less than 25.3 speed broadband. We also repeatedly heard about connectivity issues in the north side, the 6th Ward, and Delman Heights. Those areas were considered to have some issues with their current broadband. We also confirmed that building a municipally owned network is not only enormously expensive, as we just spoke about, but it is really not necessary. The city is very well served now by several internet service providers, and investing in a government-owned network, as I said earlier, would take 46 years to see a return on your investment. However, the report and its appendices lay out options for the city and considerations that can support strategic investment and partnerships moving forward. Ultimately, the project, we laid the groundwork for the city to be more competitive as federal and state funding that may come about for broadband and digital equity as those become available. Additionally, having the data and information collected through the phases of this project, we're going to help the city, this will help the city advocate for the community and inform the city's strategic infrastructure and partnerships decisions moving forward. Next, we have some recommendations. Though the feasibility study does not recommend that the city become an ISP, the process did yield several recommendations that we have shown here. Communicating and negotiating with your local ISPs that are currently in the city has the opportunity to discuss pressing need to prioritizing connecting areas that are currently unserved or underserved and coordinating with them on strategies to connect to the last mile. Additionally, this could open the door for consideration related to limited focused P3 partnerships that could address those same unserved and underserved areas. The city is also encourage eligible entities to pursue funding, and this is a report that allows them to do that, and they can sign letters of support for local projects and grant applications where they are appropriate. Broadband adoption, digital literacy, and digital equity are important community issues, and we saw that in a lot of our surveys and discussions, and pursuing partnerships can help with the city, whether it's through information sharing, participating in coalitions, or supporting local and regional broadband objectives through groups such as the Inland Empire Regional Broadband Consortium. Another thing we suggest here is the California Lifeline. It offsets some of the cost of the wireless and home phone service for income qualified individuals. You can support participation in that program, which can help fill the gap from the federal affordability connection program known as ACP that was ended earlier this year, and can help those same residents get connected to vital services. Finally, being an advocate for addressing the digital divide can benefit the community by helping to raise awareness of the challenges within the city and identifying potential solutions. These ideas can be part of a broader strategy for the city to support the community's needs and interest in relation to internet service and access, as well as digital skills. We'd like to thank you for your time and the opportunity to work with the city, especially Roland and Mary. They were crucial in every aspect that we worked with, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have of us.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Calvin?
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. Appreciate that. I just had a couple of questions. What other cities have you partnered with bringing this program to them?
We are currently working in here in California. We're working in it's not the city. We're working for the Public Utility District for the South Lake Public Utility District. We have contracted out for counties in the state of Pennsylvania, some counties in North Carolina also.
Thank you for that information. So I have a question that was sent to me by one of our senior community members, and they wanted to know what senior citizen groups were involved in the broadband discussion.
I'm going to let Alicia see if she can.
Thank you. We worked very closely with quite a few individuals. One of the most instrumental to our project was Karen Suarez. She's with the Collective Impact Uplift San Bernardino.
I'm sorry, not a senior citizen
Okay.
group.
Okay, yeah. She helped connect us with quite a few neighborhoods. The neighborhood associations in particular, which did include some senior housing, correct, Mary? Yeah.
Which senior housing?
Yeah.
We did share this information with the neighborhood associations, and I believe the president's name is Lynn Ware. Yes,
All right,
so we
so-
did share it with her.
Okay.
And we did get some participation from some seniors that were located in mobile home parks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Almost along the lines, it says that you had several community engagement meetings. I was not aware you had any on my end, at least so I could spread the word of where to meet, to go give their feedback. Besides the Neighborhood Association Council, I don't know who else.
They were announced at a council meeting.
On this one's? Okay, I don't.
They're also on the city's website, the city's social media channels.
Okay, so how, were those meetings held and when?
Several. So the dates, oh gosh, you're going to make me think back. In September, was it September or October, we held 2 in-person meetings, one here at the library and one at the Verdmont Community Center, and we also had an online option. These all happened within 3 consecutive days at different times as well, in case people had alternate work schedules. Yes, and we did have Spanish interpretation. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, yeah, because I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
And then the other item, we usually like to give the public access to what we're also getting. This was not an agenda packet. This is a 218-page document that was provided to us before the meeting. I think this is something that the public should also have access to. Usually, that's something that I have been a bit proponent that to not present to us packets. I don't know if the intent was for us to go through it before the meeting.
No.
There's quite a bit of information that was not even online. So we just got it right now before on the break time.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ibarra. So this project was funded by the LATA grant that is through the California Public Utilities Commission. So one of the requirements of the grant was to produce a master plan. So that's what's before you today. And
Correct,
we will
but this
receive a
wasn't-
digital copy, and it
Okay.
will be posted online. We just didn't get the final version until tonight.
Okay.
But we will post it online. It will be
And that's
available.
something for city manager, city clerk to know for the future. We should not be having agenda items without everything completed prior. But thank you.
Thank you.
But thank you for the report. I do appreciate it and the fact that you went to neighborhood association.
Thank you. This was agendized under presentation, so staff will provide that online. Thank you so much, Councilmember. That concludes presentation. So thank you so much for the presentation on this, Michael Baker. We will now move on to City Manager update.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I would like to invite Jeff Kraus up to provide the city manager's update report. Sir? The first 2 slides are the grant funding update on homeless activities that was requested, I believe, at the last Navigation Center workshop. This is just going to give a snapshot of the grants that have been awarded. that have been applied for and not received and still pending. This is to include with the minutes. It'll be available online, and we can provide this to the city council, bring it back at a future meeting if there are any requests to do so. And after that, I will move on to the rest of the update under Jeff's comments.
Thank you, Madam City.
Will this slide be available?
They are not in there, and that we're going to email those out to council, and that's why I said we could email it out to council and bring it back. It will be included in the minutes, so it'll be official part of the minute package, and we will email it out and bring it back again, like I said, at a future meeting. We just wanted to make sure that this was included because we did have the full navigation presentation, and the way we arranged the agenda was so that in case any of the council members were not able to attend at the workshop, we could recess and reconvene at this time. So we would have had this in advance, but I know that things got adjusted late in the schedule this week. So with that, we will also be pulling item 12 because it is a repeat of what was on the workshop.
Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. A few items to discuss. Recently, the 22nd Annual Spirit of the Entrepreneur was presented by the Inland Empire Center for Entrepreneurship at Cal State San Bernardino. These awards recognize the best entrepreneurs and businesses from across Riverside and San Bernardino counties. There were 4 San Bernardino businesses and their leaders that were among the 300 nominees and 34 finalists in 7 different categories. And we are pleased to report that all 4 of our finalists and nominees were among the 7 award winners. That we can't, and that's about as good as we could do. And actually, I say that's about as good as we can do, but I can one-up myself. Anita's Mexican Foods from San Bernardino not only won for Best Manufacturing Entrepreneur, but they were awarded the Best of the Best Award, which is the award that goes to the best of all of the award winners that evening. So it's in essence the grand prize. So in that photo, along with Councilmember Alexander, are Ricardo Robles and Jackie Robles from Anita's Mexican Foods. Aviation training company Worldwide Wings and Nashad Iman Mohammed were awarded Best General Entrepreneur. Local nonprofit Children's Fund and Cesar Navarrete were awarded Best Social Entrepreneur. And Tomorrow's Talent with Dr. Dale Marsden were awarded Best Service-Based Entrepreneur. We couldn't have swept the awards any more than we did. So, you know, when we talk about homegrown businesses, homegrown entrepreneurship, it's alive and well in San Bernardino. So those 4 businesses and their leaders should be very proud of themselves and how they represented San Bernardino a couple weeks ago. This past Wednesday, we held Thanksgiving for the Animals at the Animal Shelter. Over 40 volunteers gathered early in the morning, and yes, it was a cold morning, to surprise the shelter animals with special meal at the 4th annual Thanksgiving at the shelter. Over 300 dogs and 1 very excited pig were treated to a special meal that included ground turkey, rice, vegetables, and a special doggy treat. It was a really nice event. The pets really enjoyed themselves. And just one brief addition is that the shelter will be doing free adoptions throughout the month of December. They have almost adopted out all of their cats, but if you're looking for a dog, they have about a little over 300 that you can choose from, and the adoptions are currently free for the entire month of December. Nicholson Park, if you have been driving by Nicholson Park for probably about the last 6 or 7 months, it just looked like a dirt field. Unbeknownst to all of us who were driving by going, what's happening there, there was a lot of work being done underground. The irrigation, the plumbing, the sewer, the electricity, everything else was going on above ground, and so not a whole lot was happening visually. But just in the past few weeks, things like the baseball field backstop, the lights, the walking trail. Other things have been going in, and it is really coming and taking shape. The contractor says that they will be done by the end of February, but we'll be safe and sane by early spring at the latest. Nicholson Park will be back open, and then we can focus on the community center there and getting that done with the funds that we received this year as well. But it's an $8.8 million renovation of a 9.5 acre park. It's been a long time coming, and it's really looking good and taking shape. Speaking of things that are moving along, the Cross Street Bridge, this yesterday, was demolished. That was a bridge up off of Conejo that was deemed unsafe not too long ago. The city council funded the restoration and the replacement of the bridge, along with the restoration of the playground at Fairfax Elementary School, which had been is being temporarily used as an access road for the residents that got cut off by the bridge. So the bridge was demolished. It's going to be reconstructed in the coming months. And I'm being told that April of 2025, the bridge will be there will be a new bridge in place, and the playground will be not only restored but upgraded a little bit for the kids at Fairfax Elementary. So we're pleased with that. The Ho-Ho Parade is back. Next week, between December 9th and 12th, there will be 4 different Ho-Ho parades throughout the city. 35 to 40 cars will be decorated. They'll have a starting place at 5 o'clock in the evening. The parade starts at 6, and about 8 o'clock they will reach a destination for either a visit at the Miracle on Court Street or movies in a park. It's one of those San Bernardino traditions that if you not participated in, you have missed out. It is one of those great community events. Please go to www.hohoparade.com because the routes are different every year and every night, and it's a chance to really see a nice little community event that is done in San Bernardino. So that's coming up next week. Hope you can attend. And this very Feldheim Library now has Chromebooks available to check out here at the library. If you are 18 or older and have a library card in good standing, you can check out a Chromebook to use on our Feldheim Library Wi-Fi and be productive. It's been a long time coming since we've had computers here at Feldheim. And finally, Ernesto would kill me if I did not say that tomorrow night is the start of our very popular Miracle on Court Street. Everything from family photo booths, roller skating, not ice skating this year, hot chocolate, writing letters to Santa, visiting with Santa, and actually seeing snow fall from the sky will be taking place. The tree lighting takes place tomorrow with festivities starting at 5 and the tree lighting at 6. And we have a rumor that Santa might be joining us. So bring the kids, and it is a absolutely wonderful time. And it runs through December 22nd with a lot of events taking place in addition to the normal fair that's going on. So happy, as one of our council members always says, and now it is very timely, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for giving us the time to give the report.
Thank you so much. Excellent updates. We will now move to public comments. At this time, public comments will be heard for items on the open session and items not on the agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person should state their name for the record. Once again, if you require Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate you will need interpreting assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back.
En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos para artículos de la agenda y artículos que no están incluidos en la agenda. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador, se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la Secretaría Municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la Secretaría Municipal podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias. We have 18 speakers tonight. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk.
Okay, Eric Marquez, Rama, last name J-H-A, James Detman, Treasurer Ortiz, Al Palazzo, Mike Hartley, Jim Smith, Georgia Al, Luis Ojeda, and Albert Hopkins.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Is this working? Oh, wonderful. I'm Eric Marquez. I'm a resident of Ward 4. I'm 22, and I'm just so happy to be here to speak before you. I'm a part of a nonprofit group called the People of San Bernardino, and they asked me to just comment on how unfortunate on the scheduling, how so many of them couldn't show up because they have work schedules. But that's not my primary subject here. I would like to speak about the San Bernardino Symphony Orchestra Guild. It is a volunteer group that I would highly recommend to all of you. And if you would like more information, you could look into it by asking me or going to the website for the symphony itself. There's also more I wanted to say, but I can't remember, so I'm going to pretend to have something interesting to say for the next 2 minutes. I don't get what's funny, I'm serious, I swear. So, my cat's named Frederick. I have a website. Eric Marquez, or eric-marquez.com, in case anyone's interested. And, I was elected to the Guild's vice president membership, yes. We had a committee meeting, and we plan on having a campaign event for new members in February. I'm hoping to make it a Valentine's Day theme. It seems nice. Oh, also, the symphony itself will be having a concert on the 14th of December, so you better buy your tickets. And, you better buy them online or at the, I don't remember the name of the center off the top of my head, but they have an office somewhere on 11th Street, I think. I could be wrong, but definitely look into it. I would highly recommend it.
At the Garcia Center?
Oh, yes. Thank you for correcting me. Now, there was something else. Okay, so we also have committee meetings at the Guild. So if you want to volunteer for those, we have plenty of volunteer positions open. And also, the Guild also organizes afterglows, which is an after party after the symphony concerts, which everyone is welcome to in theory. But sometimes it gets too crowded and a bit uncomfortable, but I swear you are all welcome, I think. I'm not certain. I don't get what's funny, I'm serious, I'm not certain about any of this. Well, either way, please look into it and get tickets to the concert. It's gonna be wonderful. Okay, I think my time's off now.
Thank you, Eric. Next speaker, please state your name.
James Smith, council people, and Honorable Mayor Helen Tran. I've heard nothing but positive things tonight happening in the city of San Bernardino. Our image is improving on a daily basis. I want to commend all the efforts at Paris Hill Park, and the Park and Rec Department is doing a great job, and I want to thank the council people for voting the funds to straighten out our streets, and I think that's very important. It's all about image. I'm really here specifically tonight. I might take a lot of time, but next week, San Bernardino High School, I graduated there in 1961, will be celebrating a jubilee because, as you probably know, San Bernardino High School has been completely redone. It's like a new building, and they're going to have a ribbon cutting next week. And I just wanted the public to know that San Bernardino High School is here and alive, and we're very impressed with the current superintendent, Mauricio Arellano, who I think is one of the best superintendents we've had in the city of San Bernardino in my memory. We've had some wonderful superintendents, but I think he's really doing a tremendous job bringing San Bernardino Unified School District to the front in a very positive way. I just wanted to share that with the public tonight, and continue to think positively about the future of San Bernardino. And I want to commend all the council people and the mayor for doing a great job moving our city forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name. Okay, turn on your mic. Thank you.
I'm James Detman. Thank you for the opportunity to address the council this evening. I'm here representing VARP Incorporated to speak about Agenda Item 4 on the consent calendar, the Encampment Resolution Fund Grant. VARP operates Gibson House for Men, Gibson House for Women, and other drug and alcohol rehabilitation facilities. We're right here in San Bernardino at 11th and D Street, right up the street. We occupy about 30 houses and buildings in the neighborhood. At any given time, we serve over 200 individuals seeking to overcome their challenges and change their lives. About 1,000 people come through our programs each year. We've been helping people fight addiction since 1979. We've seen San Bernardino in the best of times and the worst of times. We applaud the efforts of the mayor, the city council, and many, many government departments, nonprofit organizations, and other groups and individuals who are committed to the revitalization of San Bernardino and who are doing the work. We believe in this community, and we are part of the effort to restore San Bernardino to health and prosperity. But let's be honest, there's a lot more work to be done to get there. Despite the real efforts we all are making, when you drive around this city, what you see is blight. You see the evidence of poverty and crime and addiction. You see graffiti and vandalism and abandoned businesses. Most tragically, you see rampant homelessness. And homelessness and the factors that drive homelessness and the outcomes that homelessness creates are interconnected with all the other problems. If we can deal effectively with homelessness, we can make a real difference in San Bernardino in all kinds of visible ways. Of course, dealing effectively with homelessness means a lot more than putting beds in a building and letting homeless individuals sleep there. A continuum of care approach is what is needed, and that's the approach that's being taken. According to the 2024 point-in-time count, nearly half of the cities unhoused are deemed chronically homeless, meaning they have been without stable residence for a year or longer. Of those, 20% suffer from a serious mental health condition, and 1/3 have a substance use disorder. As it happens at VARP, the vast majority of our consumers come from homelessness, and most suffer from co-occurring disorder, meaning that they have a substance use and a mental health disorder. We're experts at dealing with the homeless, addicted, mental health challenged population. We've been doing it for almost 50 years. We're excited to partner with the city and make a significant impact on the homelessness problem with methods and solutions that are effective in the long term. We wholeheartedly encourage the council to accept the Encampment Resolution Fund Grant from the California Department of Housing and Community Development, ratify the ERF standard agreement between the city and HCD, and make the other authorizations and approvals called for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, please state your name.
Treasurer Ortiz. Council, I want to read a letter that was submitted to you guys that I find extremely worrisome. It's not mine, but Honorable Mayor and Council, thank you for taking the time to listen to this very important message concerning an incident which occurred with the city yesterday. Tuesday, November 19th. I am the Chief of Police of the City of Ontario, and I have a grave concern with the actions of one of your council members, Councilmember Theodore Sanchez. This letter is intended to provide clarification and set the record straight concerning Councilmember Sanchez's baseless allegations against my office and my officers, the Ontario Police Department and the City of Ontario, which have already caused social media posts calling for lawsuits against the City of Ontario. Yesterday, 2 of my officers transported a homeless individual at the request of the City of Ontario's Continuum Care by his own free will to the Illumination Foundation location in the City of San Bernardino. The City of Ontario's Continuum Care Department is comprised of social workers who specialize in homeless advocacy. As the officers were entering into Illumination Foundation's secured parking lot, Councilmember Sanchez followed behind them and identified himself as a council member on more than one occasion. City Councilmember Sanchez then began filming my officers using his telephone and accused my officers of dropping off homeless people in the City of San Bernardino. This statement is not only untrue, but it's also slanderous. It is my understanding that the Councilmember Sanchez then circulated this image, taken by his phone, to multiple individuals within the City of San Bernardino. Later that evening, a social media post was made by a resident other than Councilman Sanchez, which utilized the photograph taken by Councilmember Sanchez, calling for a lawsuit against the City of Ontario, amongst other things. You know, tonight we are talking about allocating millions of funds that we have not used to address homelessness in our city. Other cities have taken steps. And what the narrative has been is that our problem is due to everyone else. We have no sense of accountability. And then creating false narratives against other cities who are actually addressing their problems, we cannot do that. Everything that man just read, the stats are true. What is happening out in our streets, we just had a business broken into by the homeless who were pushed out of Paris Hill Park and robbed of $15,000 of his property. And we want to sit here and blame other cities for our failures. We cannot do that. People are on the streets, children are living in cars, families are living paycheck to paycheck, seniors are trying to figure out where their next meal is coming, and we got council members running around taking pictures. And it was interesting how this was bypassed as a mea culpa last meeting. That's not okay. There's accountability in what we say and what we do. Please make sure that, and especially as I'm up there, that our narrative is a real narrative about how we are to truly address homelessness and who is truly homeless here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember-elect. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hello, everyone. Well, I hope that everybody have a nice Turkey Day or Thanksgiving Day. I sure did. So, San Bernardino, crazy San Bernardino like always, you know, playing politics from the city council, the city attorney, the city manager, and everyone else, which is good. This is the business that you guys are in. But when are we going to stop? I mean, this December, the year is almost over, and it's a revolving door. We're going to get, what, 3 new council members that everybody's trying to sweet talk to say, oh, come to my side, no, come to my side, and pretty soon we're going to have the right side and the left side again. I don't know, I hope not, right? But I want to address the special interests that are watching me right now, because I know that they do watch. You guys are part of the problem. And why don't we all try to be part of the solution? It's kind of like, if you don't do what I said, I'm going to get you out of office. And then we get new people that they think they're going to do the right thing, only to be worse than the last one. And we go on and on and on, and nothing changes. I want to commend you, Mr. Reynoso, for your last meeting. You were very passionate about how you've been lied to so much in these last 4 years. But I want to remind you of a lie that you said about me. A couple years ago, after me doing the SV Food Fest, spending money, time, and effort, not only for me, but for my volunteers and the good people of San Bernardino, you had the audacity to accuse me of scraping the vendors, meaning it's stealing the vendors, right? And that was a lie. A lie. okay, that you never address. And I had the option to go after you legally, but I think you guys have enough lawsuits. So since I really care about the city, I let it go. So what I'm saying, I'm bringing this up to tell you that you were part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I always wanted to be part of the solution. So I want to ask everyone, the ones that are leaving, the ones that are coming, the ones that are staying, all the special interests that contribute to campaigns, let's stop playing politics and let's start thinking for the future. We have a very good location, okay? And we have the opportunity to get ahead. So let's make, all of us, make that resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Mike Hartley, it's me again. I keep on hearing certain council people talk about the $17 million that was just thrown away, blah, blah, blah. But when I think about all the things that have happened just this year, you guys throw it away like a piss in the bucket. Sorry, Fred, I said piss. Hold on. Let me think of another word. No, it's still piss. When I think about the city manager, and I think of, well, let's go back to Audrey Miller. We paid her $750K. Let's talk about Charles Montoya. We paid him $325K. I'm not even talking about the headhunters. And then let's talk about Steve Kerrigan. I never even met the man. We paid him $800,000. And we're talking about $17 million. It's not our money, but you guys are mad about it. Well, you guys have a lot of skeletons in your closet too, and I didn't do my homework, but I'm going to, because you have a ton. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening, Council. I'm also here again. And I'm here with more concerns, starting with animal services. Last month, approximately 200 fewer animals were euthanized compared to prior months. And while I don't want to complain about that, there's really no apparent reason why. There's been no increase in adoptions, no increase in rescues or other efforts. Where did these animals go? If this was a result of a successful initiative, why haven't we heard about it? The silence is concerning, and have not seen or heard of progress at the newly leased facility, so it's clear nothing has changed operationally. This lack of transparency extends beyond animal services. I urge you to require Animal Control Commission and all the commissions to submit their minutes monthly, as was done in the past. These seats are crucial and need to be filled with committed, knowledgeable individuals who can contribute to meaningful collaboration, not just for a title or a seat. The community deserves to know what these commissions are doing or not doing. I am also deeply disappointed in this council's failure to address the homelessness crisis. You've heard repeated pleas for help, not just from the housed, but the unhoused, yet no action has been taken, outside of kicking people out of the park. Senior council members, that's you too, you should be providing wisdom and leadership, but instead, you appear to be contributing to this city's decline. What happens if we reach the point of no return and face bankruptcy yet again? We cannot continue relying on harmful economic solutions that leave us worse off and destroying our morale. Finally, I want to appeal to the public. If you cannot keep your animals, please Seek out resources to rehome them safely. Don't dump them on the streets. This is something our Animal Services Department and the alleged outreach coordinators we have should be actively supporting, but currently are not. I once again call for immediate changes in leadership at the Animal Services facility. We need a department that prioritizes community support and humane outcomes. This city needs major reform, starting with transparency, accountability, and a renewed commitment to serving the citizens of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
My name is Al Palazzo. It's no secret I want to rebuild San Bernardino. Mayor, council members, city manager. In 1955, my sister, who was 16 years older, bought a Lionel train set for Christmas from the Harris Company. I was 5 years old. It was the best toy a child could have. I believe the city should offer the Harris building to the Stanley family. They are best suited to bring back the building with creative ideas for the downtown. When I attended Roosevelt Elementary School, my older sister would meet her friends at the Froster Freeze at 16th and Mount Vernon. In the back was a jukebox. They would dance to the rock and roll music of the 50s. Mount Vernon, Route 66 had so many businesses. Markets, Safeway, Zanoni's Italian Market, La Esperanza Mexican Market, restaurants, Tinney's Italian, Top's Family, the A&W Drive-In, Car Hop, the coffee shop at the Mission Motel, on Baseline, the Mexico Cafe, the Cocky Cactus at 5th and Mount Vernon, the Steakhouse, and of course, Mila's. I wish I could share my ideas for bringing back Mount Vernon, but I would need a seat at the table. In the 6th grade, I crossed the tracks from the west side to Muscoobiabi for trick-or-treat. A person who opened the door said, "You don't look like you live in this neighborhood." My sister had just moved to Lomita Road, near Marshall and Muscoobiabi. My brother-in-law, my father figure, he was 23 years older, would barbecue and invite me to play chess and other board games. He was interested in redevelopment. He influenced many of the fundamental ideas that I have. Let us build bridges and move forward beyond fears. I attended Franklin Junior High School. I will share about those years next time as I'm interviewing for a job. Maybe it will take 3 months to tell my life story. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Albert Hopkins. Pleasure to be here, Mayor Tran, City Council members. I'm proud to see the Paris Hills Park back again. I explained once before, last time I was here, me and a pastor friend of mine, we used to walk the park, but after somebody ran in our direction, being chased by the police, we changed direction and parks. It's good to see it cleaned up, but I saw that the homelessness moved across the street in between Advanced Imaging and the pet shop right there, right in that wash area. I reside over here off of 2nd and Sierra Way. I come through this way, and a lot of times coming in, when I'm driving in, it's dark. I brought it to somebody's attention before, and it's still dark over there. Now, the homelessness has really increased over at those two parks, both of those, right there off of Sierra and 2nd, between 2nd and 3rd. And I know you know both sides. There's a pool and the rec room on one side of the park, on the west side of the street, and then as you cross back on the other side of Sierra Way, you have the that area right behind the courthouse. Excuse me, that's what I was trying to say, the courthouse. But there's other areas in our community that really need to be addressed. I mean, I'm seeing it throughout our, city, which needs to be addressed a lot better than what it is. I'm glad to see that he was able, Councilman mentioned about our streets. The streets are horrible. I mean, all the way, give you a perfect example, Waterman, from 40th on down to Redlands Boulevard, that pothole city. And in reference to what he were talking about, patching it up, I understand you patch it up, but it floats away. And this is California. We have sporadic, unspontaneous rain periodically. You never know when it happens. But when it does, now we're left with a bunch of potholes. I say, why not pave the whole thing and be done with it? It's going to last years. Let's try and do a little bit better. Our face is our image. And when people come into our city and they see that, that drives somebody away. It makes me not want to go in this direction or not go to this restaurant. Why? Because there's homelessness. They're laying out all over the streets, and everybody's looking at us. So if we can do a little bit better, I hope we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk?
Okay, the next speakers are Carmen Gallegos, Laurie Robinson, Felicia Alexander, Lydia Zavala, Albert Gutierrez, Jeremy Perez, Malibu, Les, Sean Martinez, Carlos Gonzalez, and Martha Romero.
Please state your name.
Lydia Zavala, Animal Services. Yesterday, I was at Home Depot checking out of gardening when I was approached by a black Great Dane. I reached down, I pet the dog, pulled out a slip leash from my purse, threw it over his neck, walked him to my car, opened the door, he jumped right in. I noticed his testicles were gone. That told me he was probably from the city shelter because our residents can't afford to pay $400 to $800 to a full-service vet to have their dogs neutered. So usually when you find a dog that's intact, or not intact, it's because they came from the city shelter. So I pull out my scanner out of my purse, and he's got a microchip. It's a Home Again. I call Home Again. The chip's not registered. Most people don't know this, but you have to ask the chip company, to whom did you sell the microchip? If you don't ask, they won't tell you. It was sold to the city shelter. Unfortunately, the shelter was still open, and I was able to get the name and number of the owner, and the dog was returned. Otherwise, I would have been stuck with the Great Dane overnight, and that would not have been pleasant. Earlier in the week, someone sent this message to me that had been written by Lois Chisholm. Important message from City of San Bernardino. Please be advised that the shelter is out of microchips. Until further notice, they are asking all rescue partners to bring their own microchips for each dog being pulled. And when I heard that, I said to myself, that's impossible. How can the shelter be out of microchips? That's like a restaurant being out of toilet paper or napkins. I don't know if it's financial or the budget, but the San Manuel Band of Indians restricted grant agreement dated May 1st of 21 provided for $60,000 to be spent on microchips. At $5 a pop, that comes out to 12,000 microchips. How is it possible that our city blew through 12,000 microchips in 3 years? You don't even adopt out 3,000 dogs a year. So where are the microchips? The other thing that offends me about the not giving rescue groups or telling rescues to bring their own microchips is that rescue groups carry this city. Rescue groups bailed out animal services by rescuing 25%, nearly 25% in calendar year 23. Those dogs were rescued by nonprofits. It makes me wonder if you even need a department. Maybe you should have an all-volunteer group run by nonprofits.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Well, happy holidays. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. So, Mayor and Council, Felicia Alexander, I'm a proud board member of San Bernardino City Unified School District. However, I'm here on behalf of the San Bernardino Turkey Trot and to thank everyone. So my husband and I are co-directors of the San Bernardino Turkey Trot, Damon Alexander. And this was our 10th year giving it. And we actually broke our numbers and our expectation. We had over 900 participants, and really what was great about it, we create family fun traditions, and that was really inspired by stories that I've heard by people who grew up in San Bernardino. So we're super excited. Mayor, thank you for attending. Thank you, Council Member Ibarra, and all the community that was in San Bernardino that came out. And I'm sorry, Juan Figueroa, Councilmember Figueroa, who's been with us for 10 years. So we just really appreciate it. We appreciate our sponsors. We would not have been able to have the Turkey Trot without our participants coming out, the sponsors, our volunteers. We had the explorers from the San Bernardino City Unified School District, but we have also had them from the police department. We had volunteers from different schools within the school district, as well as Fontana and Redlands. And what we started this year was a new tradition where Middle College High School started a fundraiser on our site for the Turkey Trot, and on behalf of the Alexander Foundation, we matched their funds. So I just share all that because creating family fun traditions has moved into beyond our expectations. We also, our oldest participant was 81 years old, and she placed. And so that was another good news story that I wanted to share. And outside of that, we're just thankful for the community coming out and just being there to support us and continue to create those family fun traditions. And so just kind of transitioning into just another statement I wanted to share. I just wanted to say to my husband and Councilmember Calvin and Reynoso, good luck. Congratulations for having great 4 years. To my husband, Councilmember Damon Alexander, you've done it. You did a great job, and I'm proud of you. And continue to have that integrity and that you brought into the council and whatever you do. And the sky is the limit. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Larique Robinson. Mayor and council members, last city council meeting, there was a gentleman in the audience who said that if you don't like what the council is doing or you don't agree, to be quiet. I got a problem with that because this is my money. As a taxpayer, I feel like I should be able to come and tell you I got concerns. And it shouldn't be a matter of left side, right side, upside, downside. Once again, my council member is Sandra Ibarra, yet I never see her. But that's me. Maybe it's because I don't live in the fancy apartment homes over there. Maybe it's because I live in a torn down apartment complex that has been sued by me twice. And before the settlement for this last time is settled, they're already being sued again by more members that live in the apartment complex. If the city wants money in its coffers, why is code enforcement not enforcing the citations that they write? Why are we not holding these landlords accountable for the slums that they have put in our city? We're not doing anything about it. We're allowing it to continue. We're not saying anything about it. We're allowing it to continue. We're allowing these people to charge $18,000, $19,000, $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment that is infested with bees and roaches. And you call code enforcement if you can get them out. When they come out, they write a citation, but as I found in my lawsuit, they don't even enforce the citations. On record, code enforcement said, we don't enforce the citations. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yes, I am grateful to see Paris Hill Park cleaned out, but I am saddened to see all those people in the wash. Rain is coming. Rain is coming. These are human beings. And I get that they need attention and they need addiction services. You got all these people out here doing this stuff. Why are we not using what is already here? Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? It's already here. People are already here doing the work. Come on. Make it make sense. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm going to keep coming back until it makes sense.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
I want to second that. Hello, City Council and Mayor Tran. I'm Jeremy Perez. I'm a student at Valley College. I'm majoring in political science. I'm advocating here on behalf of the undocumented population of City of San Bernardino. There are about 130,000 undocumented individuals living in San Bernardino County. These individuals are our neighbors, friends, community members, and our community members. As the City Council, it's your responsibility to serve your population. The next presidential administration's plans to deport every undocumented person will hinder this city economically, kicking out a large chunk of our workforce. 1 in every 15 people in the United States comes from a mixed immigrant status family. We have not heard anything from you guys, and the silence is deafening. The city of Los Angeles heard and listened to their constituents' concerns and made the city into a sanctuary city, making it so that the city's resources cannot be used for deportation of their citizens. I hope that the city takes a page from Los Angeles and adopts this initiative and protects your constituents. Another thing, the homelessness and your handlement of it. Kicking out the individuals at these parks is completely inhumane. Yes, these parks are now clean, but now we have people in the streets. And like she said, they're in the wash. I hope you guys heed this call and do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Yes, my name is Albert Gutierrez. I came last meeting, right? And I came to listen to what was on the agenda about this new project, Navigation Center, right? And I heard about the construction and everything. I didn't quite get to see the little format or whatever that, you know. But let me start off by saying good evening, Mayor and City Council. The patients that will be coming out of care from these medical facilities are going to be afforded 70 beds from this 200-bed project. That's for us, the homeless, which leave 130 beds for those of us that are homeless and want the help of returning back to our community and in a safe and secure home or shelter, as this project is mainly about. It's another transitional housing, which house us only for a certain period of time. And then what? What happens? You know? When we must leave this transitional period, and who gets these other 130 beds that are available? Who chooses and picks? Because there are well over 200, or correction, 130 unhoused people out there in these streets. With the money that is afforded for this project, the Navigation Center, to help with this, what was it that someone stated earlier, epidemic, homeless situation, why not build more of these little houses and really work on the whole unhoused homeless problem? I don't mean problem as us, the people of this city. We are still a part of this community. And as she said, we are human, you know? Regardless of our circumstances, there needs to be a long-term plan that will not just give us, the people, a way out of our current situation with something that is permanent and real to hopefully end this growing problem. We need a mayor and city officials that will take this situation seriously and use all the money that is given for this project that is supposed to be aimed at helping us that are homeless instead of having discussions of redirecting the money to this or that. I understand our city needs work, streets, everything, you know? I understand it, and I'm all for fixing our city. I'm a lifelong resident of San Bernardino. I love my city, you know? I ain't always been good, you know? I'm trying to get back, you know? I understand our city needs works and fixing, but can't the city ask for a separate funding for this work that we desperately need? The problem is not the unhoused or potholes in streets, that this much and long-awaited reconstruction, but this redirecting of funds that are afforded to these situations that are at hand and have been for some time now. If the funding is used to address what it was received for, then maybe we start seeing real progress and results in our city that we all love so much. I got just one more, all right? That we all love so much. Let's concentrate on an agenda one at a time, then maybe we start seeing some real change and solutions, fix streets and anything else that may come up. It's time to hold those that are in power and oversee the city, our city officials and mayor, accountable to what they say and do without the false promises or misleads and threats. I'm asking mayor, city officials to please take us, the unhoused homeless, seriously. We need affordable housing, not transitional beds. We need there to be not only the services that are already in place, but implement more and other services that will righteously help us and not separate us from our pets, significant other, or loved ones.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Sean Martinez. Good evening. I'm here to read a statement on behalf of Randy Corrigan from Teamsters Local 1932. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Randy Corrigan, and I'm the Principal Officer of Teamsters Local 1932, a local union that proudly represents over 14,000 members in the Inland Empire and surrounding areas, including over 350 workers at the City of San Bernardino. My intention this evening is to both express concern and propose solutions regarding the conduct of the San Bernardino Police Department during community events and peaceful expression of constitutionally protected speech in the city. Our union has proudly hosted many community events at our headquarters on 4th Street and North Sierra Way, including our annual car show that attracts thousands of community members and brings a positive image to San Bernardino. We believe through these events, along with our day-to-day work of supporting workers, we have demonstrated a clear commitment to transforming the Inland Empire so that our family, friends, and neighbors can thrive here. Unfortunately, the police department in the city has not been helpful nor cooperative at these community events. To the contrary, at our last car show, hundreds of vendors and car show participants were harassed by officers while in line early in the morning of the day of the event, despite the fact that we have a permit to block off several streets surrounding our Teamster campus. We continue to be puzzled by the police department's actions and their treatment of a nonprofit organization that does a tremendous amount of work for the community. The police department is entrusted with ensuring public safety. Instead of treating us all as part of the problem, maybe they should evaluate who's trying to strengthen the community and partner with us instead. Teamsters Local 1932 is also involved in many organizing efforts across the region, including at Amazon, which is our region's largest private employer. It's a $2 trillion company owned by the world's second richest man that pays poverty wages to the million people who are in their churn machine at any given time. Please understand that these courageous workers are fighting for only a small portion of what San Bernardino police officers enjoy because of the collective bargaining process. As part of our organizing efforts, we sometimes conduct peaceful strikes and picket lines that are consistently met with unfair treatment by the San Bernardino Police Department. In a country where freedom of speech and labor rights are supposed to be protected, we shouldn't have to be met with this type of behavior. The city of San Bernardino is the only city where we have this issue, and we organize everywhere in the region. Earlier this year, we floated the idea for the city to establish a labor liaison so that we can educate and inform officers and avoid future conflict. We strongly believe that the time is now to begin having those conversations about the city establishing a labor liaison. By doing so, we have the potential to minimize conflict, educate the city on labor rights, and protect the city's budget from even more costly lawsuits. We want to thank you for your time, and we hope to move this conversation soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk?
Everyone was called up.
Okay. Please state your name.
Okay, it's open. I'm Carmen Gallegos, okay? I just moved out here a while back, and even calling for the pavement and asphalt 2 to 3 years to fix a sidewalk. Oh, you're crazy. We got Home Depot, Lowe's, what the heck? But again, there's a system. I didn't know there was so much systems that weren't used for many years. There's a lot of neglect here. And if you don't take care of your environment, and there's a lot of OSHA laws, which I'm glad there is. Your family or mine, someone wasn't going by those guidelines. They were illegally training and freelancing and taking advantage of the city completely. But anyways, aside from that, like I said, I'm glad there's people getting things done, and they do need to apply. And even with the city, not to have a bunch of fireworks that are destroying your city. So either you're burning buildings, putting people on the street, or off the street. So they need to make their decision to keep that crime level to OSHA standards, because this is ridiculous. But anyways, thank you very much for you. I've seen you in many events, and I'm glad there are events that are OSHA-friendly, because some of them were out of control. And putting in the hands of alcohol and cannabis people was not helping the situation. But like I said, there is Turkey Day. That was great. Veterans got some free turkeys, and they also had turkey. But I didn't like the fact they set off a firework on the same fire lane that I go in and out of, and well, the fact that they just, lit their cannabis. I couldn't even turn on the light for the kids. So again, and Thanksgiving too. So it was also Halloween as well. So I had to call almost every day for these fireworks. I don't know who put that in their hands that they could do. That's destroying buildings and employment. So the people got to realize they need to separate. Like you said, they need to go through a system. Get all these people, get them together, build a stadium, an indoor stadium. Take out the jails, put them to the smallest city, because San Bernardino is a park. It's a national park. They should apply to those jobs. Not make it into a battleground. They should not have a battleground to come back to and a bunch of potholes. But again, that's a sinkhole thing. Anyways, and they should just shut off all the streets, make housing there. Since the city has so many problems with streets, make it into houses. But anyways, well, that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Les. My personal opinion, when we went bankrupt, we should have cleaned house. We should have fired everybody. Everybody that we kept screwed us at the end. John Valdivia screwed us. Now we got Fred. He's screwing us. And the city attorney, we should have got rid of her and the third party that she worked for. What else? Okay. I see no difference between. Okay. Like I said before, I see no difference between the left side when it comes. I see no difference with the left side and the criminals that Chief Goodman locks up. The criminal world is the yin and yang to the political world. You guys are the reason why young people nowadays do not trust the local government. No disrespect to Alexander, I know your wife is here, so I'll keep it cool. But you did some disappointing stuff, man. The Dollar General, you downgraded the Ward 7, putting that Dollar General there. Now Dollar General trying to get a liquor license. So you downgraded the 7th Ward when you did that. UN Penman did that. And then that vote earlier that you did, that was definitely a disappointment too as well. The city manager, she came in, she's doing her thing. Why not let her work and do her thing? Why all of a sudden you guys want her out? And then the crazy thing too, I think Treasurer Ortiz was like, why are they trying to keep the city attorney so hard? But I feel like the city attorney knows where the dead bodies are at. That's what it was, because she's been here since we went bankrupt. And then we should do a forensic audit from when we went bankrupt all the way to present time now. We can see some things when you guys do that. And then Fred act like he didn't know what a forensic audit is. Come on, man. You've been in the game for a long time. You know what that is. And then another thing, Riverside still allows the public to speak online. So can we bring that back? Or are you guys going to keep using this excuse about the person who called the sister a nigga? When are you guys going to investigate that situation too as well? We got half of our money is going to law enforcement, so investigate that situation. Find out who did it and go to their house and find, and talk to them. Let them know. Whatever you got to let them know. The other thing I want. Oh yeah, and then my question to the new city council members: what are you guys going to do different? Because this left side been outvoting this right side. We already been seeing that over and over and over. What are you guys going to do different to make that change? Because if you guys don't do nothing different, this left side is going to keep outvoting, and then sometimes Helen Tran jumps in it, so it's 5 against 3, and then sometimes it's 4 against 3. So what are you guys going to do different?
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
My name's Malibu. I want to thank you, Kim, for everything that you did for the west side of San Bernardino, and I think that you will continue to do. I don't think that we've seen the end of you. I'm hoping not. You did way too much good work. Nicholson Park was a home run hit for you, and I appreciate that a lot. And I just want to thank you for being honest and very transparent for your 4 years. Thank you so much. I could say some other things, but I wanted to actually keep this very positive today, so I'll skip some of the things I would like to say. I wanted to thank the chief of the police department as well as the police department, Parks and Recs director, acting director, Ernesto, and his staff, as well as code enforcement and the other departments, Animal Services Director Chris, and Vertex Trash Company. I was there when they cleaned up Paris Hill Park. And I went for that reason because there's so much corruption and lies. Like, it just irritates my soul. I wanted to go there to make sure that the citizens was being treated with dignity, that the police was treating people correctly, and that everybody was, involved. And I seen an excellent job from the police department, code enforcement, Parks and Recs. I mean, everybody just joined in and just really got the job done. And I love what happened at Paris Hill Park. Yes, there's some people across the street, and yes, there's, the world's not gonna be fixed in a day. But I have done 18 years of Easter at Paris Hill Park, and I have seen a decline, which was very sad. And so I'm happy to see that that park is coming back. Yes, they're across the street. I'm sure that they're going to get there. They've been making their rounds. I'm in this area. I'm in San Bernardino, and I see the police department as well as Parks and Recs or code enforcement. I'm not sure who it is, but they got the city logo rounding the Paris Hill Park daily. And if you went to the side of that park, they've getting you out of there. I know that we need to fix the homeless thing. I understand that, but the fix is not for them to live at the park. And I've been getting a lot of slack for saying that and standing where I stand, but I still stand with, we have to clean out the parks. We have to get some other solutions. I'm not sure what all the solutions are. I do not think that we're using the money correctly and to the full potential that we have, honestly, but I'm gonna keep it positive. I do see some new people coming in. I'm really hoping for some change. We need change. There was a time when we were bankrupt. I remember when there was a time where people that sit here now was complaining about that they didn't get money and they was having a hard time getting a job. Then they got the money, then you guys got raises, and then we didn't see anything. So, I'm rooting for you guys. I have my San Bernardino pin on. I have my Parks Make Life Better pin on because I'm not going anywhere. I believe in San Bernardino, and I'll be here, and I'm here to help in the future with anybody. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, we did receive written communications from Cheyenne Ofobo and Paula Plunk, and you each received copies of those emails.
Thank you. And that concludes public comments. We will now move on to consent calendars, items 2 to 10. Any polls from City Manager's office? No? Councilmember Sanchez?
Move to approve.
Okay.
I have a poll.
Councilmember Ibarra, any polls? Councilmember Figueroa?
None.
Thank you. Reynoso? No. Councilmember Calvin?
5.
5, okay. Councilmember Alexander?
2.
2. Okay.
Move the balance. Second.
Thank you. There's a motion second to move the balance. Call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you, Council. We will start with item number 2, Councilmember Alexander.
Yes, I appreciate Mary. Well, first of all, Mary and your grants team. I see 5 grants on here. Outstanding job that you and your team have doing. 5. I see 5. You guys, that's money not coming out of the general fund or any other place. So well done to you and your staff. Really, I recognize that. Also, 2, the animal control. I was kind of concerned when I heard the speaker say 12,000 microchips are gone, Director. So that kind of caught me by surprise. So I was going to say this is a $2,000 grant. I was looking at it in the backup information. It says you can use it any way you want to use it. So since you're out of microchips, I figure you might want to buy microchips with it. I'm not telling you what to do with it, but if you're out of microchips, you might want to use it for that. And also, it says in the backup information how you're supposed to report. So hopefully we will report on time and what the money was used for, the $2,000.
Yes, thank you very much, Councilmember Alexander, Mayor Tran, and the rest of the council. The information on the microchips going out there online is not correct. So, we do have microchips, and we are going to be ordering them as well, and we do have some that are being donated to us. We chip not just adopted animals, but also animals returning home. On any average year, we get about 6,000 dogs and cats in the shelter, and I know not all of them get adopted, unfortunately, but most dogs do, whether they're going to rescue or to private parties, and those are chipped. So it doesn't take very long to go through that number of chips. Additionally, we also take the microchips out to the community at free microchipping events where we do microchip people's pets for free, including unhoused when we're doing, when we go to the Fourth Fridays with Pastor Jones. So we do go through them quite quickly with all of those combined things, and I will be providing a report to the city manager on that.
Thank you so much. Move to approve.
Thank you, Councilmember. There's a
Second.
motion. There's a second. Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Council. The next item is item number 5, Councilmember Calvin.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. I'll wait for Miss Stephanie to get to the dais. So I wanted to share a few concerns, and I think that I have expressed several of these during the last several years about the accounting, how much revenue that the city of San Bernardino has actually received from cannabis. And if someone could tell me what was the last amount, our yearly amount that we received, I'd appreciate that. We'll start right there. Where
Are you referring to cannabis tax, or? I don't have those numbers in front of me because this item does not pertain necessarily to cannabis tax. This item is mostly funded by the annual regulatory fees that we collect.
Right. So what we're doing is hiring a company that is going to help us with, there's a scope of services and schedule of charges, right? Facilitate the yearly audits, to confirm sales, inventory compliance, ensure vendor compliance with business tax reporting and remittance, including tax returns, provide technical and policy expertise, provide on-site facility inspections, plan check, plan services, et cetera. And there was a company that was listed in the backup, and right now it is slipping my mind, that was assisting us currently with this.
Yes.
What was that company's name?
SCI Consulting.
Okay, all right. So I've never seen a report from SCI. Have anyone else received a report? Have the council been given reports from SCI? And if so, how often do we receive those?
So we have not provided council with a report. Staff is still currently working with SCI and the PUN group, who are conducting the annual audits currently. We're set to receive those reports mid-December. I think towards the 13th or the 17th, we should be receiving those reports and finalized audits from the PUN group. Because of the staggered opening of our cannabis operators, it made it very hard to conduct annual audits until we got to a certain point when we were able to now complete the audits across the board, because typically we would require the operator to be in business at minimum a year and a half. That way we could have full record to audit. But we will have those completed records here mid-December.
And so SCI has been our vendor for how long?
5 years.
For 5 years. And so for 5 years, we haven't been able to receive any reports from, there have been no vendors with us for 5 years? We haven't had any?
We have not had an operator hit the 5 years yet, no, because it wasn't until 6 or 7 months into having SCI that our first operator opened. So initially, SCI was helping us conduct inspections for operators that were opening, pre-licensing inspections, plan checks, things of that nature. We didn't really get into the individual audits of our operators until years later, based on the requirement of having them open a year and a half. That way we would have complete records to audit.
And so again, this is going to be the very first time that SCI provides the city of San Bernardino
full complete audit.
With a full complete audit. And so why are then we moving from them?
The contract that we currently have expires at the end of the year. At that point, we were required to go out for a new RFP.
Regardless of whether or not, okay, all right, so I'll take that one. So what else are we expecting then? I'm looking what the expectations are, but what else are we expecting then from the new vendor that SCI had not been able to provide us? Because whenever I would look at the revenue, it just did not seem to match with the amount of licenses that we have here in the city. And when we've questioned finance about, you know, how much money should we be receiving from cannabis and from these license holders, it just has never added up. And so what I want to do before I leave the dais is to make sure that there's some policies, there's some procedures, there's some revisions that are in place. I think the last time that there were revisions, it was like August 2018, if I'm looking at the backup information correctly, as to processes. And I think that's critical, because otherwise, I do know that the city of San Bernardino, when they voted on to issue licenses for cannabis to the city, they were looking for that revenue. That's a big ticket, right? Mm-hmm. And we're looking for that money to be able to increase our general fund. So what should we be looking at differently is one question. Number two, how much money should we be generating from having, we do have all 17 licenses issued, am I correct?
We don't have all 17 full at this point. We did have the revocation, so we do have an open retail license, and we have our last official operator coming on board at the end of December.
With that being said, is there an amount that you all are able to tell council, this is what we should be looking for to receive?
So in our update in June, if you recall, we did have some information that we brought forward to council about what our tax projections and revenues are and what they would be going into the next fiscal years.
Do you refresh my memory?
Sure. So going into fiscal year 25 and into 26, our projections were higher than where we were currently at. So we are projecting to be in the now 3 millions for cannabis tax revenues. Currently in fiscal year 24, we've been able to collect 3.2 million, which is higher than our original projections. It is important to remember that cannabis tax collections is based on cannabis product sales. So if our operators are doing well and selling well, then we will collect more tax revenue. If they are not selling as much as anticipated, those numbers will go down for us and we won't be collecting as much. It's all sales-based. So it really depends on the market for them.
So then would you say that, so with the new company coming in, who will they be reporting to? Do they report to you?
For cannabis tax, they report to business registration. Mm-hmm. We do look at those reports and we do help monitor the collection because of the audits and the company that we contract with, but business registration collects the tax.
The firm, who will they be reporting to? Who were, they report?
To community development and housing.
Okay, okay. And when they come on, will we need to be waiting an additional 5 years for a report?
No.
So what should the council expect?
So the expectation is that this new company will provide us a schedule. So we'll sit with the new consultant, we'll talk about all of our operators, we will share with them the records that we've collected with the audit reports that we're getting here in December, and then we'll create a schedule for audits going into '25. So all operators will be re-audited in '25 by the new consulting firm.
And this consulting firm will have sufficient, adequate staff in order to manage all of the vendors that we have, the licensees that we have, correct?
Yes, correct.
In order so that we can make sure that it's not that due to the fact that, not enough team members or what have you, we're not getting that information. And so the city will be the ones who will establish those reporting timeframes.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure, and I believe that council members should all make sure that that we're holding this, we need to regulate, and I just have felt in the last 4 years that it just really hasn't been quite regulated. But thank you very much, Stephanie, for your answers. I appreciate it.
Oh, Steph.
Question.
Stephanie?
Thank you. Councilmember Alexander,
Thank you,
followed by
Mayor.
Councilmember Ibarra and Sanchez.
Did you say we're getting our 17th licensee at the end of this year?
Correct.
When did did we approve that?
So that operator came in a little bit later. They were part of the use it or lose it resolution that was adopted by council. Initially, they had 12 months to become open and operational. They had some extenuating circumstances, so we gave them an extension. They have been very communicative with the city in their operations and construction, so we gave them that extension. They are 95% done with their tenant improvement. They have just pulled the permit for their signage, and they will be open and operational by December 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Hi, Stephanie, thank you. So going off of my colleague in the Sixth Ward, Councilwoman Calvin saying, do we already have the contract with them that they're going to be awarded? And can we add some verbiage in there so that way they can provide us maybe with some quarterly figures of what they're doing? Because I know we have budget hearings like at least twice a year, and to come before us and not have exact figures is kind of discouraging to us. But is that something that we can add to the contract for them, that they have to provide at least quarterly figures to the city, to you?
That's not necessarily something we need to add to the contract, but that is something that we can work into the mandatory reporting for us working with them and the records that we need. But it would probably be a collective effort between the contractor, business registration, and myself to pull those reports together to be able to provide quarterly reporting.
I would like that outlined in the contract if possible, please, because that's the only way we're going to hold these operators or consultants accountable also for their doing their part. Because we can't just give out a check to them every month or every year and not have numbers for them. I second her concern, the fact that we had to wait all these years before we got figures from the previous operator. That is very concerning for our city.
Noted.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes. How many consultants applied for the applied to be awarded the money?
Total applied for the RFP, I think, was 7.
Was SCI one of them?
Mm-hmm.
HCD?
No.
HCD did not apply?
HDL, is that what
Sorry, HDL.
They did not.
They did not apply. Okay. Did we exercise the 2 option years for SCI?
We did.
Okay, so it was a total of 4 years, 2-year contract.
It was an initial 3-year contract.
Oh, it was
We
3-year.
exercised 2 additional years.
I could have sworn that we haven't had them on for 5 years, because I remember we let go HCD and moved on to SCI. Sorry, HDL. So it's been 5 years since we awarded SCI?
It has.
Okay, all right. Now, in this contract, wait, actually, we don't have any open or unused licenses? Is that what you were saying?
No, I was saying that we have the one vacant that we did a revocation. So we've got that retail license.
Because really, the retail is the issue. Everything else is unlimited, essentially.
Correct.
Well, our issue is the 17 retail licenses. How many of those are taken up that aren't open for someone to apply for and get?
16.
So, wait, there's 16, so there's one that's, so are we going to be using SCI to go through a vetting process to pick that last vendor?
Since SCI's contract is ending, no.
Sorry, not SCI,
but,
Tetra, sorry, Tetra.
The process going forward has yet to be determined. That item will be coming back to you in January to discuss filling that last license. But we can definitely utilize them as part of the process, and they can advise if we ask them. But that's
Yeah,
yet
it's
to be
because I want to
determined.
know if they're going to be the ones, because there is no way this city has the expertise in-house.
No, that wasn't part of the RFP, and it's not part of the contract as
Okay,
far as
so then
selection process.
Maybe we should put out an RFP for the professional services for vetting and picking the last vendor. The council broke their head for months over how many retail licenses we should allow for. And we came up with 17, that's what we decided. So unless council gives new direction to go with less or more, I think staff needs to do their part to make sure we fill up to all those licenses. In this case, there's one left.
Right.
And we need someone to hold our hand, a professional who knows how to do this, to guide us through an effective process to pick that last vendor.
Councilmember, is that an item to come back in the future to discuss?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like we just want to stay focused on this, so there's a motion.
Okay,
So we can,
Yeah,
direct
so
staff to bring it
I'll
back.
go ahead and make a motion. I'd like to include what Councilmember Ibarra said. I don't think it could just be another requirement. It's not a substantial
It's
amendment.
a different item. Madam City Manager, can you intervene, please?
Well, I will ask Stephanie to explain. There are two different services that have, that are entailed with the actual request. Can you elaborate, Stephanie?
So that would be part of.
I'm sorry, Madam City Attorney, can you just?
Yeah, so I think, just so that you know, I'm reading the RFP right now. So this is for the monitoring and auditing of specific businesses. If I'm hearing you correctly, Councilmember Ibarra, and I'm listening carefully, you're more concerned about like tax revenue from the businesses, right? So the RFP that you have before you is to assist staff when they keep these businesses in compliance. They're supposed to go out and do the inspections, and then they're gonna like audit the individual business. Hey, have you been paying us enough tax rate? This is not an RFP to go do projections on tax revenue. There are separate consultants who do that. So I just wanting to make sure you understand that.
No, I'm not, I don't think she was asking for projections on revenue. She's asking a thorough report to come back at least
Okay, just know that's-
biannually.
Right, but
to-
that's different than what this.
No, because if this is tied up with reporting back to the city revenues.
So it's not revenues, it's compliance. Revenue, so revenue reporting is like a function of HDL. They do tax revenue reporting and
Correct, but this
projections.
is to do the
But this is
agreement
for
with them.
compliance reporting.
This is, and this is
Compliance.
also, from what I'm reading, this is us signing the professional services agreement with them, right?
But if we,
So
but if
I'm asking
we
for
suspect-
verbiage to be added on that
Yes,
agreement.
and we could do that to
Yes.
the Exhibit A, but the problem is that we sent out an RFP, and they submitted a proposal, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna go audit a business. If our staff, if we say, hey, that business last year reported 300,000, they're only reporting 150, but we think it's really 300, they're gonna send this company out to audit their books and make sure, hey, they should be paying us more. This company is not like looking at every one of those businesses and, doing that. It's not, I know what you're asking for, but I just don't know that this RFP touched on what she's asking for.
It's just that every time we ask for those revenues, we don't have an exact number. That's the problem, and somebody has to
So
be.
that sounds to be a separate matter, so we'll have staff, directing staff to
I just
come
want to make
back.
sure it's in the contract too, so that.
So it's not applicable, as far as the contract, it's not applicable to this specific contract, but we can report back to council quarterly if that's the request of the council.
But that hasn't
of the
really
actual
happened.
tax revenue. And I don't know if that has been requested of staff previously.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, if you recall, we brought in the revenue numbers to the City Council, recently, and as far as how we select a new provider, we also brought the report indicating that we wanted to go through some kind of a lottery system so that it made it fair for everybody. So we've gone through these items before. If you need a refresher on what we actually brought forward, we'll be more than happy to bring those back.
I'll retract my motion and second the floor motion to
Thank you.
approve the item.
Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
One moment. Councilmember Calvin.
Thank you. I just wanted clarification then, when it says facilitate yearly financial audits to confirm sales and inventory compliance. So to confirm sales, right, that still means that you are actually that this company is going to make sure that yearly that the audits confirm the sales that the vendor is stating that they have received. So to me, that says exactly what what I'm asking for.
But they're doing that on an annual basis, and so if they're doing that on an annual basis, it isn't like they have quarterly numbers.
Right.
So when they complete the year 2024, you might send them in to do all of your operators, do an audit of all your operators, so maybe in a few months after the books close in '24, they would have the data. But if you're asking for quarterly reports, they're only doing it on an annual basis.
So can I ask them who is doing a half-yearly report? We're just taking the word.
We do use HDL for that quarterly reporting that we could bring back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I wanted to clarify and elaborate on what City Attorney Sonia was saying, and that is, it's really to verify the sales that they're reporting to us. It's to confirm. So it's basically to go in and audit and match their receipts to what they're reporting to us to ensure that they're not under-reporting.
Got it. Do you understand? So I guess, and I understand that this is dealing with this RFP and with this company, but is it HDL? Is that the company? Then that should be providing us, if we request it, quarterly reports.
Correct. And we can get that specific request from them based specifically on these revenues.
So that the council does not have to wait for an annual report to be able to verify if all these numbers match up.
Correct.
Or 5 years.
Yes.
Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion.
Thank you, Council. Now we will move on to discussion items. There's only one item because item number 12 is pulled. Item 11, acceptance of donations for the SB Hope campus. Could we begin with staff presentation?
I'd like to invite Cassandra Searcy up to provide the presentation.
All right. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. This is going to be really quick, but the item before you, it actually highlights a combined donation of $1,570,000 from two medical entities, and this is from Loma Linda University Hospital and IEHP. And specifically, the reason why these organizations are looking to donate these funds to our city's project, and there's three main reasons. The first one is, in talking directly to these organizations, they're actually rooting for the city. They believe strongly in our project, our Navigation and Recuperative Care Center, and they want us to succeed. That's one. Number two, our city has the highest concentration of homeless people in the county. That's well known. And of this count, which is a total of 1,502 individuals, based off the 2024 point-in-time count, we know that nearly 45% are chronically homeless, which means that they're not dealing with their acute and chronic health conditions, which means that they're high utilizers of our emergency rooms and hospitals, which means that they're not able to fully recover from sicknesses and illnesses, which leads into the third reason, financial cost. On average, our local hospitals It's costing them between $3,000 to $5,000 per night to address the medical needs of our unhoused community. So it only makes sense financially for organizations like Loma Linda University Hospital and IEHP to contribute to our city's project. By doing this, I want to be clear that these contributions in no way suggest or promise any recuperative care beds. This funding is strictly to help the city get over the finish line with the completion of this project, and there can't be recuperative care beds if there's not a navigation center. In terms of funding, how would that work? Once a recuperative care operator is in place, that recuperative care operator will utilize CalAIM funding. They'll be able to get a Medi-Cal reimbursement, and that's how the bed cost will be covered. These donations are strictly to assist the city in finishing and completing this project. So I'm available if you have any additional questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll move approval. We'll go.
There's a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Alexander?
I want to be very clear because what this says this is for operation and budget only, not for construction.
So if you're referring to IEHP provided us flexibility for development and construction, and then Loma Linda University Hospital gave us greater flexibility. They're actually saying if you want to use the money for equipment, if you want to use the money for...
It says adopt a resolution that the 24-25 budget for operating budget.
I believe that's the city's operating budget.
Yeah, city's operating budget.
That just
So-
refers to
Hold on,
the
let me go to
city's
the
operating
I mean,
budget.
because we already have enough funds to build this thing and construct this thing, right? Because we just covered all of that, all our T's are dotted, I mean, all our I's are, T's are crossed and all our as far as construction for this project.
So to be clear, there's actually going to be a combined total of $2,120,000 in donations. Right now, we have the first $1,570,000. These funds were always a part of the overall construction of our project.
Okay.
And to clarify, it does state that to amend the fiscal year 24-25 operating budget to both revenues and expenditures to appropriate the $1.57 million in donated funds to be used towards the construction of the city's navigation center. So it's speaking to just the city's operating budget.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, there's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra is absent for this item. Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Council. That concludes the discussion items. Just want to check in with staff. Can I segue at this point to closed session, or do we need to completely complete our public open meeting, close out, then open closed session? Adjourn and then...
Adjourn, and then
Okay.
there's...
Well, then let me just go
report
to council updates. Or Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, I attended the National League of Cities in Tampa, Florida. I toured with some city staff the shelter over there. They're able to run a shelter there that provides service to, I think, over 300 people at a modest cost of $1.9 million a year. And they provide real, genuine help to these people. It was very eye-opening, and it shows, I think, at least me, it showed to me that this is something we can do and should be doing. The other thing is I cannot emphasize enough how big of a win we have by setting aside ARPA money, which will commit us to a transitional housing component to our battle against a homelessness that is rampant in our city. It's a serious commitment, and the council has shown the will time and again to want to address this issue head on. Now it's going to be up to staff to carry out a lot of that work. We can go ahead and purchase the property. We have set aside the money for acquisition of the property, but no transitional housing will be built unless staff is able to bring back to this council what we've already asked for, which is a roadmap for the next 2 years to build out this site that will serve people who are maybe not at the very bottom, but have already made it to our navigation center and are rehabilitated enough to transition to a more independent housing, and then to full 100% self-reliant, productive citizens of society. So I am asking, I'm pleading with staff to really put their best foot forward and to make sure that what the council has already decided is carried out within months, but at very most a year. I think that's it for now.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you. Just a reminder for the community to come out tomorrow for the Miracle on Court Street tree lighting ceremony. It's always a lot of fun. And then the next week, we will have the community ho-ho parade throughout the city. Go to their website or Facebook page. There's all kinds of information on there as well. And a big thank you to Councilmember Damon Alexander and Felicia Alexander as well for the turkey trot last week. A lot of fun. I know it's a lot of work that goes into that, time, energy, money, and stuff that goes into that. So thank you so much for giving the community an opportunity to turkey trot so that we can eat a lot. And I ate a lot later that afternoon. So thank you to you and Mrs. Alexander as well for putting that together.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem?
I'll just duplicate the ho-ho parade, which is coming up. It's always a big event, and there's information on it available to see. It's 5 nights in a row, I believe, and they start at one place and end up somewhere, and there's usually a gathering and a party at the other end. In the 4th Ward, the really big one is always up at Wildwood Park, and they get a great turnout. I don't know what night that is, but it's available online. And then also, of course, tomorrow night is the downtown. That's been a great event. Last year, I think, was really the first one that we did. I was disappointed to see that we're going to have roller skating instead of ice skating this year, but I guess some kind of skating is better than none. I won't be doing either. And then I too was in Tampa a couple of weeks ago for the National League of Cities. A lot of seminars discussing best practices in cities. The really impressive thing was, and my colleague mentioned it, and I mentioned Cassandra was there with us, and we went on this tour of this event, of this homeless shelter that's put on by the Catholic Charities, I believe, or the Catholic Diocese there in the area. And that medical operation, I'm not going to try to explain it, but it was pretty neat. And it's something that I think we brought back, at least the idea to look at some of those opportunities. They're doing it. They've got this event, this shelter property that is some little like modular things, and then they've also got some tents around it. But they've done a really good job. They got through all the hurricanes down there. And it was quite an impressive organization. So I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and we're into the holiday season, so happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody, albeit we'll be back before Christmas.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Reynoso?
Nothing tonight, but much more at my next and final meeting. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Calvin?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I just truly want to say thank you to all of our staff members present here tonight and those that are not, for all the work that you do. Everything that was on the agenda tonight that we were able to truly get done is all due to your hard work. And I just need to let you know how much I appreciate it. It's always there for us to be able to see. And I just want you to know that the city of San Bernardino appreciates you as well. So just continue to be inspired and be hopeful. I think that things are about to change for us. So thank you so much for all that you do. And Mayor, if we could, I'd like to close the meeting out. And my aunt, who has just transitioned, her name is Minnie Lee White, and we'll be memorializing her Thursday and Friday, so I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Will do. Councilmember Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor. See here, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving Day with your family and friends, and Friendsgiving as they call it. On December 2nd, I attended the Day of Remembrance for the tragic terrorist shooting that happened on 12/15 at Cal State. Cal State held a vigil for 6 of their students that was in that shooting. I got a chance to meet them. I worked that event 9 years ago when I was working for the ATF. It was a horrific day, and it was just a very emotional day at Cal State. With some of the family and the victims were there at Cal State saying it. I said, let's never forget this day. This happened in San Bernardino. And if we as a council and staff should not forget this day, it should be on our calendar to remember those that passed. It should not come from me. It should come from the city, just like Veterans Day or any other day, because no day was so dark as that day on December 15th. So let us put it in our calendars, at staff and anybody else sits up here, that we do something to remember those victims. Coming up, December 6th will be Nina's Christmas Caravan Parade. We've been doing it for 6 years now. I'll be the marshal. I'll be leading that parade again for the 6th straight year. We start at Wildwood Park at 6 p.m. if you want to join the caravan. But one caveat, you have to decorate your car. We decorate our cars each year with, lights and streamers and all that good stuff. So 6 o'clock at Wildwood Park, if you want to join our caravan, we go through the area of Nina to spread Christmas cheer, because you guys know Christmas is my time. Also, December 14th, that I was said earlier, is San Bernardino Symphony Orchestra. It's our Christmas concert. Come on out, bring the kids. It's fun. And just like that gentleman said, go on San Bernardino Symphony Orchestra's website and pick up your tickets. I'm not as funny as him. Oh, there he is right there. Just go on there, pick up your tickets on San Bernardino Symphony Orchestra, and come on out on Christmas. It's here in San Bernardino. Come out and support your symphony. Thank you very much, Mayor, and see you on the 18th.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, I attended the turkey trot, and great job for the Alexanders and the organizing of the event. It was very easy for the runners to get there. Something that before we would have to park a little bit further away, but this time it was right next to the starting line. And of course, tomorrow, if somebody's mentioned it, we're having our tree lighting event. Make sure you come down to downtown San Bernardino. And then next week, the Ho Ho Parade. For anybody who would like to follow where Santa is on a nightly basis, just know you can follow them on their Facebook account and on their website, which is hohoparade.com. Make sure you sign up and have it ready for when the caravan comes around of all the cars decorated in Christmas lights and Christmas characters, that your children are able to enjoy the show for free. And then lastly, Mayor, also, I just found out of one of our community members, Daniel Castro, who led a lot of the Ho-Ho parades with the police vehicle, the old police vehicle, and he recently passed last month. And I would also like to end our meeting in his memory. He was laid to rest earlier this week. And, to me, it's a really special person that we lost in our community, because every time I'd be in the Ho-Ho parade, he was always there greeting us as we showed up. But if we can also give a moment for Daniel Castro, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, will do. All right, I have a couple things that I attended over the last few weeks. On November 20th, I toured the Homes for Life at Metropolitan State Hospital with Assembly Member James Ramos' staff. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you. This is following up the Assembly bill regarding about the mental health illness of the unhoused and looking at the State Patton Hospital. So trying to look at the success story that's already been done or completed at Norwalk and try to implement it here at the Patton State Hospital. So thank you so much, Assembly Member Ramos' staff back there, and please express my gratitude and the city's gratitude to our Assembly member. On November 22nd, I attended 2 Thanksgiving turkey community giveaways with the Benjamin E. Jones Community Center and the Disabled American Veterans Chapter 12. Thank you for all that you're doing for this community and serving our community members during Thanksgiving. On November 26th, I attended the St. Bernardine and Dignity Health 30th Annual Community Thanksgiving Meal Event, hot meals to, I believe, 700 families. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing for our community. On November 27th, I joined dozens of volunteers, as Jeff Krause has shared, at the San Bernardino City Animal Shelter to feed the animals at Thanksgiving meal. The highlight was the pig. He was really, really happy with all that really delicious meal. So that's it for me. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will now adjourn this public open session meeting at 7:56 p.m. Oh, and I'd like to take a moment of silence in memory of Minnie Lee White and Daniel Castro. Please take a moment of silence at this time. Thank you. We will adjourn this meeting, but we will be going into closed session once this meeting is adjourned. Again, this meeting is adjourned at 7:57 p.m. The next joint regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency and the Mayor and City Council acting as the San Bernardino City Housing Authority and Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino acting as the San Bernardino Joint Powers Finance Authority will adjourn to the special meeting to be held on December 18th, 2024 at the Feldheim Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92401. Closed session will begin at 4 p.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, do we have public comments?
We do. We have 4, Treasurer Ortiz, Wendy and Phoenix Whitaker, Georgia L., and Les.
Okay, seeing none, I have a statement before we enter into closed session. Who is here? Georgia? Okay, Georgia, please come up. Please state your name.
This is the first time, and probably the last time, I'll be able to speak 4 times in one night. And it's like Christmas for me, just so you know, because I have a lot to say. And I know you guys never listen, but I like to be able to say it anyway. So this is a closed session regarding the termination of the city attorney. I don't know her from Adam, but I do understand law. My greatest concern are some of the things that I've seen coming out from this department, specifically some documents that were not released through public record request regarding some bond information that involved the previous city manager. Also, the last meeting, when the mayor was told that by the attorney that she could not veto that vote. Now, people can question whether that was legal, good legal advice or not, but I've been told by attorneys, more than one, that you did have the right to veto, okay? You can nod your head no, but I want an attorney outside of this group here to say that she was right and the mayor is wrong, okay? And if the mayor's right, then you have no other choice but to terminate this relationship. Because if it was my lawyer and my lawyer lied to me, that's the end of it. So, you know, it doesn't look good on this side that you were supporting this attorney. You have a city to support. Your city, your constituents, a fiduciary duty to us, and that we're being advised legally and appropriately by a well-paid firm. I have a problem with that. And I'm asking you to consider, I don't care how long she's been here, this firm has been involved in this city since way back like 2008, even when Jim Penman was still here. Yep, best, and you're, yes, you were. It's in the minutes. I read them myself. You can shake your head no all you want. I don't come up here and lie, okay? I don't come up here to make up stuff, and people say that I exaggerate, but you can say whatever you want, just like I can. But my concern is that you all, that forced me out of my home every meeting that I come here, And I feel compelled to come here because of everything that is going wrong in this city that is affecting me and many people that I know. And this is an egregious act by the law firm that we employ, and you must, for the citizens of this city, terminate this contract. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, is that all the comments?
Mayor.
Okay, not yet, Mayor Pro Tem. I have a statement before we go in closed session, and Mayor Pro Tem, you can go next. At the last council meeting on November 20th, 2024, I had agendized an item for public discussion. Discuss and provide direction regarding termination of city attorney contract and immediately appoint interim city attorney and evaluate appropriate city attorney service for the city. At that time, the majority of the council did not wish to discuss the item in public and tabled the item. I'm bringing this item back on the agenda for closed session discussion. Before we go into closed session, I, as the mayor, have requested that the city manager look into retaining an independent counsel who has knowledge and expertise in Brown Act procedures so that any action we take are in compliant. Again, this is solely for advising the mayor and city council on an item where our city attorney has acknowledged that she has a conflict of interest from the last meeting, as well as it is within the city manager's contracting authority. The current city attorney has a conflict of interest on this item. Madam City Manager, could you please introduce the independent counsel?
Do you have the authority to
Mayor
hire
Pro Tem,
counsel?
City Manager
Does
is
the ci-
speaking. Mayor Pro Tem, you do not have the floor. I did not.
To clarify, yes, this is a contract that was existing that we use with the HR firm. We use many firms, outside legal firms, for advising HR. I did reach out to one that is existing at Stream Kim Hicks, Rage, and Alfaro. Theodore Stream was available today, and this is only to advise on conflict or Brown Act, any information that the council may need to protect the city attorney. Last time it was brought up that there could be a conflict. I think there was some not acknowledgement, but there is, the city attorney stepped away from her seat. So I just wanted to ensure that council is protected, the city attorney is protected, and it is to do nothing else, nothing otherwise, and it was just an existing contract that advises HR.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
First of all, the mayor doesn't have the authority to direct you to hire somebody at all. Second of all, you and the mayor have gone against a supermajority of council members that voted to not discuss this. Now, you can bring it back, which you're doing right now. She's bringing it back on her authority. As far as the comment about BB&K being here from 2008, I have to address that because that is absolutely not correct. Absolutely not correct. I was elected in 2009, and we had an elected city attorney named Jim Penman for many of those first 5 or 6 years. BB&K had nothing. BB&K, send it to me, fine. We had an elected city attorney until we changed our charter in 2016. So BB&K has not been here since 2008, and that needs to be on the record.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm not violating anything. I'm not the only one who's requesting the city manager to look for an independent counsel. This is within the city manager's authority, and there's already an existing contract. So I'd like for you to bring forward the counsel
This is closed session. We shouldn't
to introduce who he is. Just to introduce.
This is closed session. She just named.
I introduced his name. I don't think it's
Okay, so
necessary.
we would now go to closed session.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. We are back from closed session at 9:17 p.m. And from that closed session, it's been decided by the council by the vote of 6-1 to have Jacob Green Consultant conduct an evaluation for the city attorney, city manager, city clerk.
You're just required to report out the vote. Who voted how?
Oh, it's 6-1 with Mayor Pro Tem voting no. And then we will have a special meeting scheduled for December 11th at 2 p.m. And the city clerk has been given direction.
I'll let you know if I'm available. I wasn't consulted on the time or date, so I can let you know.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 9:18 p.m. Good night, everyone.